The Doom series is one of the most important video game franchises of all time. While Doom 1993 isn't considered the first fully 3D first-person shooter as Wolfenstein 3D came out the year before, Doom and its sequel both played a crucial role in the growing popularity and evolution of first-person shooters during the 90s. With multiple DLCs and spin-offs in the years that followed, the next mainline game in the series, Doom 3, wouldn't be released until 2005. At the time of its release, Doom 3 was one of the most technically impressive games of all time, and while it received stellar reviews from critics, it was by far the most divisive game in the series for fans. id Software took Doom into a new direction, abandoning the over-the-top action design of the first two games in favor of a more atmospheric and linear survival horror experience. After Doom 3, the series would be put on hiatus until the reveal of the series reboot, simply titled Doom, back in 2015. With the help of their new publisher Bethesda, id Software would be given a second chance to create an authentic Doom experience. As we all know by now, Doom 2016 ended up being a massive success which would serve as the beginning of a new Doom trilogy. With Doom: The Dark Ages on the horizon, I thought it would be fitting to take a look back at the game that started it all, a game that I have tried to play before, not just once, but twice. Yes, I intentionally tried to rage bait a lot of you with my title and thumbnail, so let me get straight to the point. This video serves as the third time I've given Doom 2016 a chance. I never played a Doom game growing up, so when id Software and Bethesda attempted to capture the nostalgic hearts of longtime fans, I wasn't someone who was initially drawn to the game back in 2016. However, I was fully aware of how satisfied Doom fans were, and I saw the good reviews from critics too, so a couple years later, sometime around 2018 or 2019, I loaded up Doom for the first time. I played for less than an hour, not even making it past the first level before switching to something else. I didn't understand why at the time, but the intro to the game didn't hook me at all. The sequel, Doom Eternal, came out not long after, and somehow that game got even more praise than the first one, with many people considering it one of the greatest first-person shooters of all time. Safe to say I was intrigued, but I thought it would be only right to give Doom 2016 a second chance. So I did, and it left a pretty sour taste in my mouth. I got farther my second go around, and by that I mean I made it to the second level, but the game did nothing but bore me.
You're ugly, you're disgusting, I'm gonna kill you.
Let me just say that for this attempt I did force myself to give Doom at least several hours before I formed an opinion. And guess what, I do think that Doom is a good game and I had a lot of fun with it, but it's definitely not perfect, and I'm sure that a lot of newcomers to the Doom series would agree with some of my opinions. I think it's fair for me to say that Doom 2016 is a game that was built for fans of classic arena shooters. That's not to say id Software didn't evolve the formula for a modern audience, because they definitely did. However, this version of Doom feels like an apology to older fans who didn't like the new direction of Doom 3. As someone who is completely new to the Doom universe, there's a lot that I respect about the third game. Mainly, I appreciate how the narrative of Doom 3 is presented. There's a heavy emphasis on the game's story with several cutscenes and important characters that are shown to us right away. I know that cutscenes are a touchy subject for the Doom community since the first game didn't have them, but I personally think that this was a worthwhile evolution for the franchise. Sure, Doom 16 has cutscenes, but you can count on one hand how many times you see them. The game features cinematics for the introduction and ending of the game, but majority of the time cutscenes are really only used to show the Doomslayer having a temper tantrum. So with that being said, Doom 2016 doesn't really have a compelling story, simply due to the fact that it doesn't exist. At this point, the intro is iconic, but it barely gives you anything to work with. You wake up and immediately you're smashing Hell Demon skulls, suiting up in mythical power armor, and getting real angry when someone wants to be your friend.
I think we can work together and resolve this problem in a way that benefits us both.
The game leaves you with several questions. Where am I? Where did I come from? Why am I so angry? Why are there so many demons, and why are they from hell? This isn't necessarily a bad thing for newcomers. I think the questions you're left with leave you wanting to learn more about the universe, but it just sucks that the game does not deliver satisfying answers. The game is filled with exposition dumps, with most of them coming from holograms that you stumble upon throughout the environment. Thankfully, the game does allow you to skip these moments by just running past them, which I'm sure is meant for players who are replaying the campaign. The most egregious expo dump of the entire game is finding out the origins of the Doomslayer, which involves you walking up to a stone tablet and being read a bedtime story by a demon.
One stood, burned by the embers of Armageddon. His soul. And those that tasted the bite of his sword named him the Doomslayer.
Finally!
Another reason why the story is lackluster is the severe lack of characters. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there's only 3, that being Dr. Samuel Hyde, Olivia Pierce, and the Doomslayer himself. Now, I do think Dr. Samuel Hyde is a cool character, as I like both his appearance and his performance. He is a skinny and compact android that still manages to be threatening thanks to his height and BDE. But then Olivia Pierce is pretty forgettable, and that's because we don't get many opportunities to interact with her, as the Doomslayer just chases her throughout the whole campaign. Besides that, you're left with the Doomslayer, and he isn't so much a character as he is a vessel for the players to create complete carnage. Now, I say he isn't really a character, not because he has no lines, but because we never get to see him from a third perspective. I'm not asking to see his face, I just want to see him in some cool cinematics. I know there's plenty of people who consider the Doomslayer as iconic of a character as someone like the Master Chief, and while I see the potential, I don't share that same opinion yet. I can only base my thoughts off of Doom 2016 because I haven't played any other game in the series. Yes, I haven't played Doom Eternal yet, but I have seen some of the cutscenes from that game and a lot of them look pretty badass. But we're talking about the previous game, and unfortunately there aren't many iconic moments, and I think a big reason for that is not only the lack of cutscenes, but the lack of tension during the main campaign. Yes, I understand that the literal gates of hell have been opened, but everything takes place on an abandoned Mars research facility, and never once do I feel like I'm preventing the end of the world or saving the lives of countless people. I just feel like I'm killing a bunch of demons in order to save a corporation's property. At the end of the day, the story is not the main selling point of this game. We all know what it is, but I'm being so critical of the lackluster narrative because it really would have made the game that much better. That's all to say that the gameplay of Doom is enough of a reason to give it a chance. I actually wasn't a big fan of the controls the first 2 times I played, and that's because I didn't like the weightless, floaty feeling of the movement. It doesn't help that the first 2 weapons Doom introduces are the pistol and combat shotgun, both of which are pretty underpowered. Especially the pistol, which can take several rounds to take down even the most basic of enemies, and once you get a larger assortment of guns, you have almost no reason to ever use the pistol. However, after giving the game a few hours, the gameplay and combat really grew on me. I got used to the fast, fluid, and floaty controls, which feel absolutely perfect, especially after experiencing the lightning-fast movement of the original Doom. The gameplay progression in Doom 2016 is masterful, constantly throwing new enemies at you and giving you new weapons in order to deal with them. One by one, you'll be introduced to a new monster before killing all 36 different variations. id Software could have just been lazy and give each new enemy a slightly stronger health bar, but on top of that, each monster has their own weaknesses for you to capitalize on, whether that be attacking their weak points or using a specific gun that will deal the most damage. The game offers 8 different firearms, however there isn't as much variety as you would think because there's only 4 different ammo types. You have 2 different shotguns that use the same ammunition, a minigun and an assault rifle that share ammo, 2 different plasma-based weapons, and a rocket launcher. This does create a challenge as you could run out of ammo faster than you might think, but in my opinion this may discourage a lot of people from experimenting as there is a clear stronger and weaker gun for each type of ammo. However, what does encourage experimentation is the fact that nearly every weapon has 2 different types of alternate fire modes. In my opinion, the different weapon mods really save the combat, as it gives a reason to use each and every weapon instead of just using the most powerful options. What really surprised me about the gameplay was how sophisticated it actually is. On the surface, I thought Doom was just mindless, over-the-top gory action, which I can get the appeal of, but the gameplay actually has a decent amount of depth. Like I mentioned not that long ago, there are 36 different types of monsters in the game, and including all the different weapons, limited use items, throwables, and executions, there are truly hundreds of different ways that you can kill demons. The game forces you to think on your toes and constantly move, as standing still is a death sentence, all while constantly switching between different weapons and fire modes in order to be as efficient as possible. While the story doesn't have many iconic moments, the gameplay does make up for it with several memorable arenas to fight in. It's just a shame that Doom 2016 doesn't offer anything else other than its combat. There is platforming, and while it does feel really smooth, it's just your standard jumping and climbing. There are secrets for you to find, but it just comes down to more exposition to collect, upgrade points, and cute little Doom figurines. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for saying this, but Doom 2016 is one of the few IGN reviews that I actually agree with. It's nowhere near being considered a bad game, but there's definitely room for improvement. I too would have to give Doom a 7 out of 10, which I consider to be a good game, but I would also have no issue with someone else giving it an 8. However, I don't think it should be considered anything more than a good game with an excellent foundation. For me, the lack of a compelling narrative with memorable moments and iconic characters really holds this game back from being one of my favorites. While I haven't played it yet, Doom Eternal seems to have answered all of my complaints that I have for Doom 2016. So if you guys would be interested in hearing my thoughts about Doom Eternal, go like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll make a video about Doom Eternal ahead of its 5th year anniversary. If I physically, emotionally, or spiritually hurt you in any way, I'm sorry. Just know that I cannot lie and call this version of Doom a bad game. It just has some obvious shortcomings. Whether you agree or disagree with what I have to say, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments and let's have a conversation. Hopefully I'll see you in my next video, but if you never hear from me again, let me just say thank you for watching. I hope you achieve everything that you desire. You got this.